training is finished for the Tyler, things like that. He has done court. We had a couple of arrests that required court appearances last week, and he got to sit through those, so he's doing pretty good. I have kind of cut him loose to drive around. He's got specific instructions. Do not get into anything without me, and I do have the other car fired up just in case, but it's been really busy. We had 10 incidences, and if I count it right, that is, and 158 calls for service. So,
I have a question. Do we have any kind of process in place for like traumatic things? Because I know it's a small town, it's not nearly as busy as like a city of Findlay, but to help, especially with as young as he is, to kind of handle.
So Jeremy, because we did have an incident that there was more than just would be him that could have used some different things, and Jeremy had reached out to try to get a debriefing, and he was going to be included with that debriefing. But unfortunately, it's coming back to we're pretty small and we're going to have to figure something out. We haven't had much luck to get someone here for a debriefing. So I have talked to him quite a bit. We've went through it. I think he's handling it pretty well, and I still, at least every other day, ask, okay, what about this, what about that, how are you feeling, things like that, if you have any questions. I'm not going to lie, this last one was even hard for me, because I know the families, and I have had other cases like that, but I think this one was the worst for me. So it was hard.
That's the thing, like with being a small town, you've been doing it for a long time, whereas he won't know everyone personally like you did here, but
yes,
at least something to have, when things like that happen, and to help him cope with it, so it's not he instantly wants to be done in this industry.
Yeah, I did some of the debriefing stuff over in Putnam, so I have a pretty good idea how the right questions to ask and different things like that. And I think Jeremy's still working on it. I'm not saying it's a closed down subject yet, that we're not going to do it. He's still working on it, so, because he's got a couple people too that he needs to get in there, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's his timeline to be on his own again? Has it changed?
It's not really changed. It's just, it's really hard with me still trying to do everything else and teach him too. Like some of the bigger things that we've had recently, some of my time has to be in the office because it's a lot of paperwork. So it takes away from him. But I do run through, he may be fine in the time frame with, the 4 months, I'm hoping. But he is pretty young, so I'm just going to kind of go with it at the moment. He does good with people. I have kind of pushed him to jump in on little things to talk. And he's doing well with people, doing really well with the kids. So.
Good.
And he had his first vehicle towed, you told me the other day.
Yeah, he got to tow his first vehicle, see what that was like. He's wrote some tickets. So yeah.
I can't wait for a vehicle at the other end of the school zone and one at this end, because once they pass the one, they're always like, yeah, oh, here's another one.
Yeah. Especially if they're both out and about.
Yeah.
You'll confuse them.
I know. Well, I every once in a while I'll get a message. Is he out on his own already? No, he's not on his own.
I've had people ask me that too. I don't think so.
He's just
driving.
Yeah, he's still learning the streets, but he's actually doing really well with the streets even. I test him a lot and he'll know, and I'm like, shoot, sometimes, I might say, oh, so-and-so lives here, so I'll know, you know? I mean, it's just thrown up here, and sometimes I have to think, where's that at? When they say a street over the radio, so.
I know there was, a rear end or some kind of small accident that happened over the weekend, and the response time from the sheriff's department was over a half hour. It wasn't anything critical or anything like that, but it's just something, again, once we get Mitchell up and running, if we
I've had
rediscuss
phone
that.
calls about that at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did receive an email from Sheriff Cortez about starting to think about the first of the year, because they wanted to go January to the end of the year, so we're gonna need to talk about that probably at our next meeting as well.
Should we have a separate police and public safety meeting in regards to the contract and where we're at? To get a better feel to have discussions for the council meeting?
Whatever you guys want.
It's up to you, Jennifer.
That's whatever you guys want. I mean,
I don't even remember.
I think it's Beth and Haley, I think, yeah.
But I think it's one of those things that could be discussed as like a bigger group, just because I think we all have different insights and things that could be brought to the table. So if we just do it during a normal meeting, normal council meeting.
We could touch on it at finance before also.
Yeah, 'cause there's like finance too, so.
Finance would be, we bring it up there.
27th. Okay, we did not have any birthdays this month. I did find out that David Dillon, who is replacing Jack Myers, is also a September, so hey, another one for a month, Rob.
Big month.
Big month. Garrett Householder did seal the Panther Sunday, 2 Sundays ago, I don't remember the day. Jim used his lift and he got it sealed, so it looks real nice, so we checked that one off. The Macomb Community Partnership Hometown Christmas this year is December 2nd, and it will be from 2 to 6, so it's not going to be as late, it's going to start a little earlier. They ask about putting in a real tree instead of driving around chopping a tree, having our guys help them every year and hope it didn't blow down. So we took the little weeping tree that was pretty sad there, and they tried to dig it out. Not sure it's going to make it. If it doesn't, well, it's gone. But if it does, we'll put it down at the park someplace. So there will be a small tree that will be live every year. Rita went and picked one up at Pepperville there at North Branch. So that's on schedule. They're coming to plant it and do everything. So the first year or so, it's going to be probably not as big, but you know what, it'll last 10, 15 probably.
What date did you say that?
December 7th.
I know, I said the second too.
December 7th from
Okay.
2 to 6.
I think on top of the community partnership doing the farmers markets and then hometown Christmas, I don't know if there's something that we could, I don't know what group or committee would be a part of, but kind of beautifying this where they do all that stuff at. They did that pretty little painting there,
Yeah.
but just doing a little bit more to it, making it like the, I don't know, like a center spot for people. Because I know I have a cousin that rides his bike and they love stopping there, just hanging out, because it's like
a nice,
yeah.
It has been cleaned up a lot since they started. I will tell you the other item that is real hot on the topic right now. None of the Bennett buildings have any power, no water, and something else.
That's what I was thinking, like hanging those lights that you see in a lot of alleyways
So,
in cities.
the decorating the window contest, but we did last year, we're not sure what that's gonna look like. It was really neat driving through town and seeing that kind of came to life. So I have a meeting on Thursday at noon with Joe. I had sent him an email to see if, I wanna know, he had told him, the partnership, that they could use the buildings, but they would have to turn the turn-on fee, the turn-off fee, and the month of December's electric to do lights. So in my email to him, I asked how many meters are in each building, you know, like if this whole one here only has one, well then what are we we're looking at? Maybe Primrose across here, maybe there's just one for that, I don't know. I asked him if he'd be willing, if the cost is manageable, to come with that cost, if the EDO, if they're still functioning, would pay a fourth, if Joe would pay a fourth, partnership a fourth, if the village would kick in a fourth. So I have kind of opened that conversation up in an email and hope to meet with him Thursday and see where we can go from there.
While we're on the topic of hometown Christmas, the student group has also agreed to do the flower pot decorating again, and the community partnership was asking if the village would be willing to sponsor the prizes again.
I have already put that in that grant, so
Okay.
yes. I mean, it's the Heart and Soul grant. I get about $1,000 every year, so I use some of it all went to that Panther from last year, but I've already requested it for next year, so, and the check is here, so. I think that's about all on the homecoming or hometown Christmas. The Friday, the TAP grant, which is for 2028 for downtown sidewalks and lighting. We also had several pieces of sidewalk in that. ODOT has said we must do the sidewalk from Dollar General to the park with that grant, and the rest of the money we can put it towards the sidewalk. The first time we met, there was a large group, and the numbers were all over, and you remember Greg said it looked like we would have to come up more to finish the downtown. I went back through it and I've sent another email to him. I'm like, hey, this isn't what I'm coming up with, what am I missing? So we're going to sit down through a Teams meeting on Friday morning and see where we're at.
That's the downtown
Yes.
TAP grant?
Yes. We asked for $2 million, I think it was, and they gave us $1,250,000. But we cut out. We were going to do sidewalks. There was a little piece on South Street, the one on Raider Road. We did cut most of that out ahead of time because we have no right of way there to walk to Carside, Maker's Pride. And that one on the corner we had talked about that's blacktop.
So if a sidewalk in front of someone's house needs redone, is that on the village or is that on the homeowner?
That's on the homeowner.
Okay.
Now, I will tell you, in 2018, there were some trees on Main Street that had raised sidewalk, and council said that they would pay for the new cement based on the fact that it was because of the trees that were on our right of way. I think that is the rest of my list because I had added some in our discussion. So at this time we will go into an executive